Hello. Put some comments on. Hope everyone is well this evening. Just waiting for comments to start filtering through, but I hope that everyone has had a nice day. Thank you for joining me this evening. Comments are taking their sweet time this night. So here we go. Hey Belinda, hey Kimberly. Tula, hello. Hey Jude. Oh, good morning. It's, what do we got tonight? 8 o'clock, I'm on time. Hey Ruby. So guys, just as everyone's filtering in, I will just remind everyone, please feel free to comment more than one time. Please don't smash the page with comments though. And also no legal, no pregnancy, no health questions. The more specific you are with your question, the more specific I can be with my reply. But other than that, the beautiful MBS festival is coming up next week. And so from the 13th until the 16th of October, you will find me there in my store. Very much looking forward to that one, which is going to be wonderful. And then after that, I am in Port Kembla on the 22nd and 23rd for the Living Wellness Fair. And then I am at Central Coast Church on the 30th of October as well. And then the Mystic and Wellbeing Fair at the 5th of November. So yeah, a few events coming up, which is nice. I'm looking at my calendar as we go. Alright. Beautiful. There's a few of you here. Excellent. Alright, let me catch up with the comments. Yes, it's nice to have the events around now, and I have balanced myself out with them, so that's good. Tula, you asked first, so I shall give you a reading. Give me 1 second. What's up, bud? Okay. I've got a spectator hanging to the side of me there. Alright, Tula. I want to say, it's funny because it's in my head it's going, oh my god, it's boring, but work side of things for you, it's feeling really chaotic around you at the moment, but it doesn't necessarily feel like it's on you. It feels like it's the business and the company around is quite chaotic. I feel like there's systematic changes that are coming through with it, okay, and it just feels like there's it's interesting. It's like there's somebody. It's not like they're trying to shift the culture, but the workplace and things like that are shifting. The way things are done are shifting, and so it will shift the culture. There's a big change coming. It's it's interesting, and you can see I'm not all full of bubbly enthusiasm. I don't necessarily want to say it sucks, but it feels like it makes things just that little bit tighter and harder. So it'd be interesting to see what comes of that. Again, I don't need to go into job security or anything else like that. That's not a part of it. But yeah, it's got this interesting vibe to it. Buzz off. Trying to get his thumb on the screen. Alright, so Tula, when I pull your cards, you've got the Take 5 card, the Transformation card, you've also got the Worry and Doubt card, so let me just follow that through. Yeah, and as I said, there's some shifts and changes coming, so if you've been thinking about making like a big change with work, follow your gut and your instinct, because it definitely feels like there's a big shift that's coming. The Transformation card around with you, blossoming into true self, it's interesting. It's got, you've definitely got a big strong work energy with you, but when I sit with you around that, I feel like it's almost, you know, sometimes when we've got a bit of chaos around in our life, it kind of, gets highlighted to us what we're missing and what we want to focus on and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like there's a bit of a process on that going around for you as well. I want to say to you as well, and I'll just keep it general and specific, but I've got a really nice clear sentence in my head that says that includes health too. Okay, so again, worry and doubt, honestly, just having a bit of patience. You know, it's time to make some changes, and that's the thing. Think about what it is that you keep coming back to, okay? Because I feel like it's always the same problem, and don't get me wrong, I know that there's other bits and pieces that come up as well, but that underlying situation where we keep coming back to the same problem, okay? It doesn't feel like it's about to shift, and indeed it feels like it's about to get a little bit worse. And again, I'm sitting very much with the energy focused on work. I feel like I'm watching 20 people all just in like annoyance in this office. It's quite a decent energy that's there. But I'm not stressed about your security and little bits and pieces around. So overall, what I want to say to you in all of that mouthful is pay attention to what is happening to yourself. I feel like it generally comes through as itchy skin and irritations and frustrations and things like that. But it's almost like you're being encouraged to step to the side. Do that thing that you felt like you couldn't do, okay? And again, just with the work side of things, just keeping an eye on what's ticking over there. You may choose to make a move out, but there's definitely some energy of a culture shift that's happening through. And as I said, I don't feel like it's I don't necessarily want to go negative or positive, but I want to go tighter, okay? So I'll leave that there with you, and I hope that helps. All right. Amy McGuinness, yes you may, yes you may. You feel like you've got a little idea brewing up around you, and it feels like it's more about stepping out of your own shell and into things that you enjoy and are passionate about, and perhaps attaching a little bit of income to. I want to keep it as a sideline next to you that's there. I don't necessarily feel like it's a main voyage, but it's got a nice energy. So I just want to say to you that if that is correct, just to keep plodding along with it. You've got a little bit of time and space to get out of your own way, though. So for me, that's generally about the the confidence and the criticism and everything else like that comes into play with it. But definitely stick with that idea that's brewing in your head. You've got the skills and the talent there to actually see it out. Now, what? Yeah, what, bud? Untangling a lead. Give me a second. Good done, bud. Alright, that's enough. Now, here, take them. There you go, buddy. Same. Love you too, darling. Okay, I've got my cards. Beautiful. School holidays. They get Nancy. Used to me being on the computer on a Monday night. Alright. So when I sit with your cards, Amy, okay, you've got the health card, which thinks about paying attention to the long term. And for me, it's not just about the physical health, it is about the mental, the spiritual, the emotional health that comes along with that as well. And it's almost like I was having that conversation the other day where, there's pieces of us, and if we get to a certain point in our life and we let things go, it's with regret that we never gave it a go, we never tried. Even if we ended up failing, at least we know that we tried. And so really kind of, again, pay attention to those little ideas that are tapping on you. It's wanting to step you very much out of your comfort zone, okay? You've got the security card there, which talks about the fact that you are secure in your life and in your choices, but nothing changes if nothing changes, okay? So take a risk. It's nice. I feel a really nice, that old saying, when you've got your vibe, you'll find your tribe, okay? And that's definitely what I'm feeling around with you. I'm feeling people coming in and around, connecting into it as far as what that idea is. So it's nice. It is nice. You've got a little bit of a shift out happening around you as well. So it's almost like you're, I don't necessarily want to go into a phase out, though I'm sure if I kept pulling your cards, that one would come in. But that's what I'm wanting to do. It's like I'm letting go of some things, I'm allowing the new energy to come in. But there's a heartache and there's a bit of a, a sense of perhaps loneliness that attaches in with that, okay? And so just remember that, as I said, the more that you attach to the things that you want and to who you are and everything else like that, that energy is going to keep coming in, okay? That energy is going to keep coming in. Why am I getting... It looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, Amy. Just remember that as well, okay? I don't feel like there's an equal balance of support that's coming in towards you again. So it's almost like I'm watching a pimple being squeezed, okay? I do feel like there's a definite shift around your friendship side, and that shift's going to come in regardless of what you're actually doing moving forward, because that energy's sitting in the present, okay? So, but again, it just feels like it's the season, seasons and reasons and all that type of thing. It's time to start moving that energy forward. There's... keep in mind with your close relationships as well that you're advocating for yourself enough. It feels like you've got a lot of energy going out to others and not necessarily a lot coming in, and that they're starting to have a sense of, where do I matter in that energy? And if you're picking up on that, especially in the closer relationships, communication for me, it feels like you're not actually voicing out these things enough, okay? So just give that a little bit of a twirl and a whirl. But I'll leave that there with you, Amy, and I hope that helps. Let me just catch up with the comments. 8:23. Nice. Right, it goes quick. You're very welcome. A few years back, we lost my little one's Poppy Lyle. And only recently I crossed paths with someone who would have the same name, Lyle Gamble. Yeah, nice. I'm wondering if that's some sort of a sign. You know what, Rennie, in my world, and even like, and I say in my world just because even like professionally, it's often a conversation that happens in the background when we talk about seeing signs and all of those kind of bits and pieces. And what I often comment on is that, you know, if we've got a feather, we find a coin, we see a name, you know, that in itself doesn't necessarily represent, but when the energy is connected to it, when you know, we see that name and automatically our energy goes to there, and it's got that, obviously, you know, if we see a name we might think of the thing, but you understand the emotional energy that comes into it as well. For me, that's always that extra sense of validation that indeed what it is there is a sign, you know, because signs aren't always necessarily big and loud and in your face. They are subtle, you know, initials on number plates, signs on buses, feathers at your feet, you know, all of those kind of little bits and pieces. And so I do feel a really strong resonation with the question, and so I do want to say to you that I feel like it's a sign. What is okay, so when I sit and I tune in with that, okay, for me it talks about a non-repetition, so it's almost like there's been a cycle broken. You're doing things very differently than what come before you, and that's not just about generational change and technology change and time moving forward and all those kind of little bits and pieces. It's literally about breaking cycles the way that things have been done, okay, and I get a really nice strong sense of pride that comes in and around that as well. And I feel like at the time that you saw that sign, there was that kind of energy, there was that even just that sense of really strong belonging and family and connection and everything else like that you've bred and beautifully nurture around you, and I feel like it was a validation around that as well. So yep, absolutely, and I'm happy to you know, just share out as a general side of things as well. As I said, when we see a little sign from spirit, the energy that's connected to that sign is almost more important than the object of which we find, because they've put all that time and energy into making sure that when you see that little particular moment, you do think of them and you are reminded how much they love you. So yeah, I hope that helps. Andrew. Andrew. I want to say to you, Andrew, that the consistency that's been over the last 12 months, okay, when I see it like a line, but I see gaps into it, okay, and what I see over the next 12 months is those gaps being filled in. And so I'm just feeling like there's stability coming in and around. So it's almost like that movement from one place to another, as far as like it's like the work and everything else on that side there, it starts to become more fluid. Okay, it's almost like if I go forward 2 years from now, I look back and I go, yeah, I've been doing that for 2 years, instead of, yeah, I tried this for a bit, did this for a bit, this for a bit. Okay, so I feel like there's a really nice fluidity that's coming in, and I know that it's got a very strong sense that that's part of the nature of the work. So I don't want to suggest you've been like voluntarily hopping by any yards of the stick, but I think you understand when I talk about the consistency that's coming into play and around with it. Okay, it's interesting. I feel like there's a house move coming in through that time as well. I don't necessarily want to bring it in right at this second, but when I sit and I talk with you over the 2 years, I can literally see you guys moving boxes. Okay, so I do feel like there's going to be a move. I don't feel like it's a massive move out of the area or anything else like that. I want to say something that's more suitable. It may just be, you know, that you've outgrown the space that you're in and things like that, but that opportunity to move forward will come along. Okay, and it does feel like an improvement. All right, so let me pull some cards for you as well. You know, it's that's cool. You know, there's around you, Andrew, and it's so strong that I'm going to say it. But I'm wondering if either someone around you has just had a baby. Okay, there's a really strong pregnancy energy around you. Just keep that as a feather in your hat. But when I pull your cards, you've got the prosperity card, and that's what I sort of say to you. As I said, I do feel like there's stability, a consistency that's coming in and around you, all right? And I feel like that's one that you're going to be able to rely on, and as I said, that you actually are going to carry with you for a number of years, okay? Letting go, releasing binds and all of those kind of little bits and pieces. Now, I actually feel family is connected to this, and I feel like it is the bigger circle of family, but I also feel like there's some friends that have been like family connected to this as well, okay? and it's almost like you've kind of moved forward enough that you realise that you're going to have to let go of a couple of links because they're just not just not where you're at, you know what I mean? They're not who you are and all of those kind of little bits and pieces, and you'll see that holding those hands is actually not necessarily holding you down, but perhaps holding you back a little bit, okay? And I feel like when I talk about holding you back from being completely yourself and the person that you know that you can be, it's funny, I almost feel like you still carry with you a sense of look, shame comes in many different shapes and forms, so I'll use the word but keep it in context. But I want to just kind of invite you to sit with that and just recognise where it comes from. And I know it's not as easy when I say just to let it go as just letting it go, but really kind of just validating the work and the effort and everything else like that that's gone into your life, and why it is that you still sort of feel the need to carry that side of things, and just do a little bit of work with it, because it's a jacket that's no longer yours, okay? It no longer fits. And I feel like while you keep that energy around you, you do tend to sometimes link into people who aren't necessarily the greatest motivation for you, but perhaps where your self-worth tells you that you belong, okay? So I'll leave that there with you, Andrew, and I hope that helps. My God, yes?
I found a video on YouTube.
Oh, did you? Nice, okay.
What? What?
Alright, let's keep going. Priscilla, let me pull you a card. Alright. I do not like this tablecloth, eh? I'm sitting in a different spot, as I was talking to you guys last night, and I've got a different tablecloth on the table, and as I pull the cards, the tablecloth's moving with me, so I'm not enjoying that, but it's all good. Alright, so when I pull your cards, Priscilla. Yeah, okay. Look, I want to say to you, stop overthinking, okay? I feel like there's a bit of overthinking going into... it's almost like you're feeling good about things, and then you catch yourself feeling good about things and you feel guilty almost, and very much, again, keep that in context. And I'll say you're just walking around feeling guilty for living your life, but that's what it's almost like a sense of, it's like you're afraid to be big and to be successful because of the chastisement that follows behind it, you know what I mean? So just for you, I invite you just to kind of sit with that for a moment and just sort of recognise where that overthinking is coming on, and maybe even a little bit of linguistic distancing. Instead of talking to yourself, talk to yourself in the third person. Priscilla, is this really getting me anywhere? And just kind of sit with that, because I feel like you're just sitting on a speed hump. Literally just sitting on a speed hump, okay? Give yourself a bit of a shake off, give yourself a little bit of a giggle, and remind yourself that you've got this. And I feel like that's sort of that energy that just needs to come into play. It feels like there's been a little bit of a halt around with work, but look, it is school holidays, so I'd be silly to not take that into consideration. But I also feel like it's almost the energy that you've put into it. So not that you're doing anything wrong or anything else like that, but you've needed that extra time out to yourself and things like that. So I don't feel like there's been as much energy flowing into it. But there's a beautiful energy there, just with the improvements, and then just staying connected to yourself, and really kind of, I feel like you're probably being challenged a little bit to recognise what it is that you really want. I feel like there's a lot of personal kind of awareness that's coming into play, and it sounds silly, I guess, sometimes when we talk about it as adults, but I feel like you're discovering who you are to an element, and again, I don't want to suggest you've been living in the dark or anything else like that, but it's almost like there's this beautiful new energies coming in, and you're discovering new strengths and new zest around yourself, that you perhaps haven't had a chance to recognise before. Don't be afraid to own that, okay? You're very humble, and so, I can connect with that, but we also need a healthy element of ego to be able to drive us forward as well. So I'll leave that there with you, and I hope that helps. Kimberly, you've got a pretty nice energy around you, okay? So you can't seem to shake it. It's funny, I actually want to go physiology, not spiritual with that one that's there. I'm curious to see what your diet was like, say, in the last week. It almost feels like your body's running a little bit sluggish, okay, and it's like it's just had a little bit of a play with the hormones and things like that. Just kind of take that in as well, because if you haven't necessarily changed diet or anything else like that, but you're feeling that sluggishness that's there, perhaps, just a little bit of a couple of days of mindfulness, give your body a little bit of clarity, so to speak, so heavy meals, but drink lots of water. I know I won't get into it, I know you know what I'm talking about, but it's interesting. I feel like your body in itself is heavy, okay, and I'm wanting to shift that out.
It's so easy.
Now, when I sit with your cards, you've got changes, moving on, and intention. So when I sit with those, okay, so being open to embracing the changes that are there. Again, there's a lot of physiological energy around you, okay, so metaphysically, if you move on with that as well, it's like there's a stagnicity that's sitting around you that you're, it's like rain that's sitting there. You know what I mean? But as I said, it's a heaviness that's lurking in through your body. So be really mindful that you're not needing a nice little clear out, okay? Shifting with the energy, moving on towards better things. Your energy, as I said, I'm not feeling stuck in your energy at all, okay? I just want to bring mindfulness into play. Be mindful as well, sometimes when we are feeling a little bit sluggish and we're feeling a little bit down, that we can accidentally sort of feed into that a little bit as well, or worry about what it is representing and things like that. I want to give you a nice surety that it is, as I said, for me, it just feels like it's sitting in the body, not necessarily in the energy. Alright, I do feel like you let go of it fairly quickly. Just be mindful where your intentions are as well. Always take an opportunity when we're feeling a little bit down to kind of have a look and see how our thought processes are working around us, okay, and intention, where energy goes, energy flows, and so just keep that in the back of the mind as well. Give yourself another couple of days to shake it off, and I feel like that energy moves forward. Interestingly, I feel like there's an aha moment in this for you, so I really kind of do want to implore you just to spend that time and have a look and just monitor the thought processes and bits and pieces, as I said, that's going on. Have a look and see, even that food side of things might be, but that's what I'm feeling like, just that opportunity to sit back and actually think a little bit, leaves you with that, I reckon I've worked this out. Alright, so I kind of want to really encourage you, because there's a little bit of a lesson here and something that you can learn about yourself as well. So I hope that helps. Alright, let me catch up with the comments. Madison, I like that question, and I just want to say, there's no one thing, like you've got to find kind of what sits with you, and everyone will have different opinions and all of those kind of little bits and pieces, but of one that's trudged through the mud from, and learnt the hard way of everything, I think. But I want to say self-awareness is a massive part of things, and we're not talking about self-awareness in the, I know this about myself, I know that. I'm talking about the shadow side of self, the where the darkness lurks, and when we start to really kind of attach with that side of ourself, that's where the depths of our self-awareness really kind of lives, because it's where our motivations of anxiety and lack of self-worth and confidence and everything else like that kind of stem from. And so it's really important to understand where our drive and where our basis comes from, because once we do that, we're able to get out of our own way, and we're very much able to start tuning in more and more to the energy around us. A soul's purpose, I don't believe for one moment that a soul's purpose is anything to do with a job or anything else like that. When we think about soul's purpose, I'm meant to be a teacher, or I'm meant to be, a psychic, or I'm meant to be that's not that in its literal sense, but it's the energy that comes behind it. Like, I absolutely believe part of my soul's purpose is to serve spirit and to serve man, and to bring those two connections together, and to use my ability to tap into my intuition so awesomely, to serve others. And so in that, I've got to also remember to serve myself. And so does that make sense what I'm saying there? Okay, so, and the reason why I come to that is, all of the self-awareness side of things that comes into it. And so I say that to anybody. I know it's not necessarily a psychic answer, but it's a literal one, and it is one that will get you to where you want to be. We have to know ourselves in order to be able to create ourselves, okay? We need to be our own best friend and everything else like that as well. Sorry, I dropped a card. Now my bra's falling off. It's getting all professional. There was a card that fell down just there. Uncertainty, confusion and doubt, a clouded judgment, which is probably where you're sitting right now. But again, you know, self-awareness and things like that. Don't put pressure on yourself either. You know, when what our self looks like and what we're meant to be and everything else like that can change 1,000 times over. There's no rule that says that it's not allowed to. It always makes me giggle when you got kids walking out of a HSC, you know, oh, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? Rah, 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 rah. And it's like, yeah, okay, you're a child, and at 18 you've got all this pressure on you to actually figure out what it is that you're supposed to do for the rest of your life. You know, it's makes me giggle, that one. So, but it's, again, take the same energy for yourself. So when I pull your cards, you've got the self-denial, self-sabotage, refusal, and stubbornness. And, you know, it's a card, that one, because there's so much energy that comes into that, and it's a perpetual learning kind of energy as well, you know. We think that, just be mindful, I won't get into the big, I've got this whole thing happening in my head there. What I want to say is at its essence is that if somebody else is getting more from you than what you're getting from yourself, then something's wrong. Okay, it's not selfish to serve yourself in any way, shape or form. If you're not full, if you're not fulfilled and everything else like that, then you're just running from a depleting energy source, and that's just not the purpose either. And that's part of that thing there as well. Very much so, our soul's journey is to learn to honour ourselves. You know, we're all here to learn a lesson, and those lessons are different for everyone, but at the essence of it, we've got to learn to honour ourselves, and you know, and learn what that actually means, because a lot of times I feel like people think honouring ourselves is, I honour myself because I serve others. You know, and I use that example because I've been guilty of that as well, and in that I slowly started to recognise that I haven't been serving myself. Okay, so take that on board. You've got the healing card that sits there, which talks about being patient but allowing the healing to come in. And again, healing is not just a matter of going, okay, well, I'm going to feel better. It's about doing the hard work and releasing the energy, the resentments, the emotions and everything else like that are connected to those past experiences that for all essential purposes still haunt us. You know, there's work that needs to be done here. And you know what, that probably sounds like a big overwhelming wave of just like, oh my freaking god, okay, yeah, I'll just spend the next 5 years doing that. And you know what, actually it'll be that and longer. As I said, it's perpetual. It doesn't mean you don't get your joys and your moments along the way. But you do got this, and if you don't start, the cycles will continue around you. So I'll leave you with that bunch of googly. I hope that some of that has sunk in and resonates with you, but I will leave that there with you, and thank you very much for joining me. Alright. What time are we at? 5:40, where's the comments? Yep, just wait, I'm not to comments. Sorry, stuck there. Can't see what that says. Would love a reading, please, and thank you. Yep, no problem. Alright. Donna. Alright, beautiful. So Donna, when I pull your cards, you've got the letting go card, which talks about releasing binds, letting go of that which holds you back, okay? And it's a nice card that's there. And I feel, when I sit with you, actually, I feel like you're already in the processes of doing that. Remember to seek out and reach support, okay? You've got the worry and doubt, the card that sits there. And I always say, when we're sitting there with a bunch of tasks and to-dos and everything else like that, I look at it like a huge pie. And if someone says to you, eat that pie and all your problems are going to be solved, you go, well, I physically can't eat all of that pie. Cut it up in spices, you know, and slices and eat it, I'm losing my words, eat it over the course of the day, and it's not so overwhelming. And if we do the same thing with our problems as well, the same thing happens, it's not so overwhelming. So just take that on board, okay? I feel like there is a decision coming up and around you, and I feel like it's a choice that you'll get to make, alright? And I feel like this is more to do with you personally, a decision that, you know, it's almost like it's not necessarily a literal thing, but an energetical thing that's there, and I really want to encourage you to move forward. I do have a sense in there that there may be a shifting away from, okay? So it's interesting energy. I don't necessarily want to say that you're walking away from people, but it's a shift away, okay? You've got the, just a reminder there, because you can see I pulled you a couple more cards, just being positive. Your attitude is a choice, but it is linked there behind the freedom card as well, which is nice, okay? So I'll leave that there with you, and I hope that that helps. So guys, just before I continue as well, I'll do a few more readings before I finish this evening, but I also wanted just to share with you that next week is MBS in Sydney from the 13th until the 16th of October, so excited, very much looking forward to doing that one. You can book for pre-bookings, but just message me or text me. The Facebook Messenger sucks, okay? I'm almost on the verge of just putting a permanent message up there saying don't use it, it sucks. It can take up to several days for messages to leak through, and even when I got the freaking notification on the front of my phone and I go to the messages still on the left. It's always fun, and it always has been. So please text me on my mobile phone to pre-book. Do not send messages on Facebook, please. Alright guys, I'm going to do 3 more readings and I will be back next Monday. Depending where you follow me, you may find me on other platforms through the week as well. So I'm just trying to catch up with the comments. Far out, they move quickly. Beverly, do you see me changing jobs? When will I find love? You know, Beverly, I'm going to say to you the same. There's this. I don't want to say that it's fear. You know what I mean? There's definitely a fear in there because it just makes sense. But there's I don't want to be very fair with my words either, but there's a block that's sitting there between you and love. There is something in your head that's telling you that you're not going to find the right person, or that you don't deserve it, or that it's not going to last, or that it's too hard, or there's something that's there and you're holding your energy back. Okay, it's and don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? I'm not going, oh, this is your fault. You should have found love by now, but I want to say to you, kind of have a really close look and seeing what that block is, okay? Because for me, that's those things that are sort of running through my head, you know what I mean? Like, oh, what if it doesn't work, and what if it's this, and what if it's that, and everything else like that. You've got such a beautiful awareness over yourself, and you've got such a sass about you, that I know that you've got the confidence and you've got everything that you need to be able to identify red flags, to be able to do this, to be able to do that. You need to be a little bit more daring as well, okay? And I get that we may, you know, prefer traditional sources and things like that, but at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, times they are a-changing, you know, and if we throw some energy into it, so like online dating, for example, you know, oh no, don't want to do that, blah, blah, blah. Look, that's fine, I'm not here to change that, but at the same token, sometimes when we go shopping online, you know, we get to browse, and so thinking about that, and just by going through a couple of dating sites and really kind of, you know, oh yeah, I like him, or that he sounds alright, or, you know, that's my type. You got this beautiful energy brewing, you know what I mean? You're getting excited, you're anticipating, you're looking at something like you believe that it's going to come in, and that there is where the difference lies, and that is where it's going to lift that energy block up and away from you. Not jumping online. You understand the energy of what I'm talking about that's there, okay? Broaden your horizons, be a little bit more daring, be not afraid to step out of your comfort zone with that, and the energy will come in. Same side of things with the jobs, not to the same intensity, but I do feel like there's a hesitancy to actually switch over. You're going to take your time finding your role. I feel like there's almost a couple of months' energy in that in itself, of just sort of looking and, you know, figuring out exactly where you want to be, where you want to go, and everything else like that. And then from the point of looking, I feel like it takes about another 2 to 3 months, okay? So I don't feel like this is a quick turnover journey, but that's energy that you've put there, and I feel like that's okay, you know what I mean? So I can see you changing jobs, but it's one that you will completely instigate, and as I said, I still feel like that we're kind of almost teetering on the edge of still making that decision as well. But I do feel like if you move forward, there's very specific reasons why that energy is coming in and that you're wanting to change. If you don't make that change, just know that that problem's not going to shift out and change. Alright, and it's almost like we tell ourselves, oh, she'll be right, and then 6 months later all that energy is back there. So really take your time and think about whether or not this is the right thing for you to do. I feel like you know that it is, okay, and so I strongly encourage you to follow your intuition with that as well. Alright, so I hope that helps. Okay. Karina McKee. Karina. Can I have a reading, please? Karina, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it is a duck. If you keep running into the same problems in your relationships, recognize it for what it is, and don't be afraid to make some changes around you. Okay, just keep that as a feather in your hat. Looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's a duck, and if you don't get rid of said duck, it's soon going to be shitting all over your concrete. Duck shit tends to stain. Alright, so nice. Okay, I feel like you've got a nice, be really mindful, okay, because you're in a nice position here, and you're kind of in a position where you can be your own worst enemy as well. So it's when I sit with your energy, as I said, I feel like I'm drawn to sort of just let you know, as I said, looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck. It is a duck, and I do not feel like you're being respected enough in the relationships that are around you. Obviously, that's not every single relationship. You'll recognise that energy that's there, but these are close relationships, okay? So just be really kind of mindful, because when I sit with you, I put your cards down, I'm drawn straight over to career side of things with you, and I do feel very positively that there is a nice opportunity that's coming in. What I'm curious about is whether or not that opportunity is going to be taken, okay? And so I want to encourage you to push yourself forward, even if it makes other people uncomfortable, alright? Because you kind of yeah, I know, it's you've got this, you're worrying about people that are going to be around for a short time, and you're losing something that's going to be around for a long time. Okay, so you need to focus moving forward and not keep on what's happy around you right here. And that includes yourself as well. Alright, make yourself uncomfortable and allow yourself to kind of just embrace who you are, who you know that you are, and as I said, shake off I'm shaking water off because I've got ducks in my head. Alright, so just keep that in mind. You've got the prosperity card and you've got the self-trust card that sits there, okay? So just sit with that. You've got a change of luck. Energies are shifting for the better, but you've got the alarm bells that's there as well. It's time. You feel it and you know it, okay? And so what that card represents is that, again, this is energy that you're going to have to instigate into that to actually bring through those, okay? So take that on board. You know what, sometimes life sucks and we've got to make decisions that don't necessarily make everyone else happy, but trust me, as time goes on and as we start to move forward, you soon learn and realise that, the only person that you've got to answer to at the end of the day is yourself, okay? And so spend a little bit of time talking with yourself and just see what answers that you have to give, because there needs to be some shifts, alright? So I hope that helps. Alright, so guys, I will be sorry, who just caught the comment said. I will be back next Monday. I'm going to do another reading before I finish for this evening, but I will be back next Monday, and we'll be live on Mondays for October, okay? So that'll change again once October's the silly season for me as far as it goes with events and things like that, and so very much looking forward to doing all of those. But yeah, you will find the live feeds on Monday. If you do follow me on TikTok, you will find that I am live on there as well. I still need to do a live on there as well this evening, so I'll be over there at some point in time. But other than that, I'll do one more reading, guys, and I look forward to catching you through the week. Oh my god, I'm tipping on the same person. I always try to pick the last question randomly. Anthena. Sorry if I'm not saying your name right. Can I please have a reading? Yes, you may. You get a jump card. I'll grab that in a second. Alright, Anthena. You've got a really strong business energy around you. You're like I want to say like a boss babe. You've got this vibe, man. Gee whiz, it's really nice energy to sit with. I want to say to you, make sure you're riding that energy, really paying attention to what you're being shown and what you're being sort of directed to do and everything else like that at this point in time, especially if it does look in around that business side. Gee whiz, it feels like there's some beautiful success that's coming in on that. It's interesting too, you've got a little bit of tall poppy syndrome around you. I don't think everyone realises how hard sometimes you work, but just keep doing your own thing, shake your own tail feathers and screw them, because it's not a huge energy. I don't need to get into into that or make it sound worse than what it is. A little bit of frustration and uncertainty sitting around you, and I feel like this is in connection to others and waiting for information and things like that to come in. It does clear out. It's almost like that, you know, if it's due on the 6th, this information, it'll come through at 5:59 on the 5th, you know what I mean? It's like it's pushed right to the side, but I do feel like it'll happen in the time in which you're expected, okay? So it's information coming in. That information may be in the forms of things getting signed and everything else like that, but I feel like there's something that's coming in that allows us to step forward, okay? With that brings the improvements and things like that. I feel like you're someone that always sits with yourself and does sort of take that time to bring in the self-awareness and things like that, and you're going to have an opportunity to do that even more so with just things that are confronting as far as it goes. And so like when I sit with that energy, what I'm feeling is just like confronting for me or for you is what I feel like is just getting pushed out of your comfort zones basically, but I kind of want to keep it light because I feel like you're already on the edge of stepping out of those anyway, you know what I mean? I don't feel like you're being thrown into foreign waters here, but moving on towards better things and just being really mindful to keep yourself grounded as well. It's almost like you get washed up in the busyness that's around you, and you can ride that wave like a champion surfer for 6 months and then all of a sudden you hit the beach, okay? So just be mindful that you stop for water along the way, alright? So I'll leave that there with you. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. Guys, I am going to be back next Monday, as I said. The reading is a little bit shorter this evening, so I do apologise for that, but circumstances beyond my control with some duties and bits and pieces behind. But other than that, guys, please have a good week. Take care. If you can't be good at it, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday. And again, if you do follow me on TikTok, you will find me on live on there at some point this evening, but I don't know the exact time yet. Alright, so guys, take care. Love you all. Bye.